There is a statement in society that a lot of women like to repeat. And I think the statement lacks a lot of self reflection, and a lot of women tend to overextend their position in society. And what that means is this: there is a subject matter that is called power parity. And the way power parity works is in this fashion that in both genders, both male and female, everybody has their role. And there tends to be a confusion due to the independence that women have awarded themselves, and for the fact that a lot of them become very educated. Now they've become hyper masculine, and now they think they can operate in the same premise and reality as men. And how this operates is this: a lot of ladies do not understand that you cannot cater the same things as a man. And what that means is this: the only thing that women are able to offer in terms of the engagement between males and females is that women are only in control of who they sleep with and who they have children with. But because of this hyper masculinity that a lot of ladies have, now they think that they are the ones who are in control of who they date and who they get married to. And unfortunately, it does not work that way. Why do you think that a lot of you are being left behind by men that give you children and then they run away from you? It is because that the men that a lot of you are choosing are not men that are there to give you relationships. They are not men who are there to give you marriage. Those men are there just to sleep with you guys. But somewhere in your minds, you get it confused. You think that when you pick a guy, you are then in control of you being in a long-term relationship with him. It's always up to the man if he's there to stay or is there to give you a marriage life. Now, the crisis then becomes this thing that when you really look at this thing, now these ladies then they start saying now they are single by choice. It's like, no. When you ask them why are you single, they say, no, I'm single by choice. I'm just taking a break. But the reality of the story is majority of the men that are in her life don't want to give her relationships. Those men don't want to give her commitment. Those men are not there to stay. Those men are out for a good time. Now, it becomes said in this fashion that the men that they choose or the men that they desire, those men, the so-called best options, they call them their best options. The so-called best options are not necessarily best options because those men don't want a relationship with her. Those men do not want, even when they impregnate her, they're not willing to compromise to build a life with this woman. Most of these men, they run away. They leave them with kids. And it becomes evident when you see a lot of these ladies that speak this notion of single by choice. A lot of them happen to be single mothers. And the men that they choose are never there to build with them, are never there to empower them. So it really highlights the fact that women are only in control of who they sleep with. And in you choosing the man that you sleep with, you must make sure that the man that you sleep with, that man will be there to marry you tomorrow. That man will be there to be a father to your kids. That man will offer you a relationship. Oh. And lastly, the man that you allow to put your seed in your womb, you must understand and choose carefully and be aware that is this man intentional with you? Does this man want a relationship with you? Does this man see a life with you? Because that man might not be there for the reasons that you expect. So the best options that they usually talk about, those men do not want relationships with them. The next part is that the men that want them, they don't want. And they play games with these men. They do extortion tendencies. They take money from these men. They use them for resources and all these things. And you find that these men are well intentional. These men want to give them relationships. But the reality of the story is that most women don't know how to pick intentional men, how to pick men that will offer them a life and marry them one day. Oh, they use the men that are genuinely interested in them for attention, for resources, and a whole bunch of things just to boost their egos. And it never ends well for the guys because the guys are there for the right reasons, but in the long run, they always overlook the ones that are really interested in them and they pick the ones that are the so-called best options, and the best options continuously disappoint them. It never works out. And the so-called single by choice notion is often used as an excuse to avoid accountability. They downplay the whole process, because if you really had to look at their dating history, you'll understand that the only reason why she's single because she is unable to take accountability. She listens to respond. She doesn't listen to comprehend. She's a difficult person to be around with. Hence why these men do not offer her relationships. Hence why these men are not there to stick around for the long haul. So that whole instance of single by choice is an excuse for them not to take accountability and self-reflect and say, no, I'm single because most of my relationships are not working. I'm single because I'm a narcissist. I'm single because I don't know how to listen to a man. They will never say those things. Oh, they make it as if like they're single and they have this large pool of men that is waiting for them at the end of the rainbow, and they can just choose any man that they want. And it doesn't work that way. When you really look at it, there is no man who wants to really offer them substance. There is no man that really wants a life with them. Those men are only after a good time. So the single by choice parameter for them is just an escape for them not to take responsibility. Oh. Now, the last part of all of this is that the so-called ladies that speak the single by choice love being victims in every day. They use it as an excuse for an escape, as I was saying previously. Because when you really look at their dating history, majority of them, and you understand they love being victims in all of those situations, you ask them, what happened to your last relationship? No, my ex, we're not clicking, and the relationship ending, there was no love, I was not happy, and all these types of things. But when you really look into the situation and study them correctly, you'd understand they were the problem in that situation. They would excuse, you'd find that she was cheating, but when you try to understand why she was cheating, you'd start hearing them say, no, I cheated because he was not making me happy. I cheated because he was not doing this. It is never about them and what they are doing wrong. It is always a projection to the next person, and they will say their singleness is based on the fact that they can choose when to be single and when not to be single, of which is madness.